Welcome back to the channel. Here you'll find the fastest updates on breaking news, shocking secrets, and dramatic predictions for times. The young and the restless. Who will betray whom? What secrets are about to be revealed? And what horrific tragedy awaits the characters in Genoa City? Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us to discover the unmissable developments right now. Welcome back to our channel on this beautiful day as we dive into the latest shocking developments shaking the very foundations of Genoa City. The legacy of this town has always been built upon a fragile foundation of ruthless power plays, shattered alliances, and generational vendettas. But a storm of unprecedented magnitude is currently gathering on the horizon. Victor Newman, the undisputed architect of psychological warfare and the formidable patriarch of the Newman dynasty, is preparing to unleash a devastating strike against his perennial target. The simmering animosity between Victor and Billy Abbott has spanned decades, characterized by endless cycles of retaliation and bitter resentment, but the upcoming confrontation is destined to rewrite the rules of their engagement. Victor is no longer interested in mere corporate skirmishes or temporary victories. He is orchestrating an absolute annihilation of Billy's personal and professional life. The atmosphere in Genoa City is thick with an impending sense of doom as the invisible machinery of the Newman Empire begins to turn, locking its sights on a man who is already teetering dangerously on the edge of a massive emotional precipice. The impending face-off between these two titans is set to be an explosive masterclass in emotional destruction, taking place within the grand, intimidating confines of the Newman domain. Victor approaches this confrontation not with the fiery rage of a spontaneous argument, but with the cold, calculated precision of a predator who has finally cornered his exhausted prey. He corners Billy, stripping away any pretense of civility, and launches a relentless surgical assault on every vulnerability, failure, and insecurity that Billy has spent a lifetime trying to outrun. The air in the room grows heavy and suffocating as Victor systematically dissects Billy's history of reckless decisions, unreliability, and chronic inability to protect the people he claims to love. Billy, vibrating with a volatile mixture of defensive anger and deep-seated inadequacy, finds himself trapped in a psychological vice. Every attempt Billy makes to deflect or defend himself is effortlessly swatted away by Victor's imposing presence and booming authority, leaving the younger man exposed and bleeding from emotional wounds that have never truly healed. In a move of breathtaking cruelty, Victor weaponizes the most agonizing tragedy of Billy's existence, striking at the absolute fragile core of his trauma by invoking the memory of Delia Abbott. The mere mention of Delia's name by the Newman patriarch is a calculated act of emotional terrorism designed to instantly shatter Billy's carefully constructed defenses and plunge him back into the darkest abyss. Victor masterfully twists the knife, using the heartbreaking loss of the little girl to underscore his narrative of Billy's ultimate failure as a protector. He paints a devastating picture of a man whose chronic negligence and chaotic lifestyle inevitably lead to catastrophe for anyone unfortunate enough to be caught in his orbit. The historical weight of Delia's death, a tragedy that forever altered the landscape of Genoa City and left Billy with an insurmountable burden of guilt, is resurrected and hurled at him like a weapon. The psychological impact on Billy is catastrophic. The color drains from his face, his breathing becomes shallow, and the simmering anger in his eyes is instantly replaced by a blinding, paralyzing agony as the ghost of his daughter is summoned to condemn him. Refusing to offer even a moment of reprieve, Victor seamlessly shifts the trajectory of his attack to another foundational pillar of Billy's insecurity, targeting the deeply fractured relationship with his mother, Jill Abbott. Victor expertly dissects the painful reality that Jill, despite her maternal bond, has fundamentally lost all faith in her son's ability to lead or succeed. He reminds Billy, with agonizing clarity, that Jill's decision to oust him from Chancellor Industries was not a mere business calculation, but a profound declaration of her lack of trust in his character and competence. This brutal assessment strikes a devastating chord, especially given the hidden terminal illness Jill is currently battling and the explosive secret of the hidden Chancellor heir that is slowly tearing their family apart. Victor's words amplify Billy's suffocating feelings of inadequacy and betrayal, forcing him to confront the agonizing truth that even his own mother views him as a chaotic liability rather than a worthy successor. The realization that Victor sees this vulnerability so clearly and uses it with such lethal precision leaves Billy emotionally eviscerated and desperately grasping for any semblance of control. However, this brutal psychological dismantling is merely the prelude to a much darker, far more tangible destruction, as Victor is simultaneously orchestrating a masterclass in corporate espionage and legal entrapment. Operating from the impenetrable shadows of his executive suite, Victor sets into motion a highly complex, meticulously designed legal trap intended to ensnare Billy in a web of catastrophic criminal charges. Leveraging the vast, virtually limitless resources and dark operatives of Newman Enterprises, Victor constructs a fabricated scenario of severe financial malfeasance, specifically tailoring the trap around the devastating crime of insider trading. The plan is a labyrinth of deceit, designed to look entirely organic, utilizing dummy corporations, offshore accounts, and manipulated digital trails that all point directly and exclusively to Billy Abbott. Victor's objective is not simply to embarrass Billy or cost him a business deal. His goal is to trigger a federal investigation that will result in long-term incarceration and the permanent obliteration of the Abbott name in the corporate world. The mechanism of this devastating trap is seamlessly integrated into Billy's current desperate scramble to prove his worth within the volatile landscape of Chancellor Winter. Driven by a frantic need to validate himself in the wake of his mother's rejection and Victor's taunts, Billy aggressively pursues a crucial, high-stakes business transaction, entirely unaware that he is walking blindly into a meticulously crafted snare. Every aggressive maneuver Billy makes, every confidential email he sends, and every secure server he accesses is being monitored, mirrored, and manipulated by Victor's elite team of corporate saboteurs. As Billy pushes the deal forward, believing he is finally securing a massive victory that will silence his detractors, he is actually tightening the noose around his. The sheer brilliance of Victor's trap lies in its exploitation of Billy's own ambition and impulsivity. Victor does not need to force Billy into making a mistake. He simply provides the illusion of an opportunity and allows Billy's desperate need for validation to drive him directly into the abyss. The execution of the frame-up is a terrifying display of digital manipulation and corporate warfare, executed with chilling silence and absolute precision. Highly sophisticated, fabricated financial records, deeply incriminating communications, and damning evidence of illegal market manipulation are seamlessly and covertly implanted deep within Billy's personal and professional computer system. The digital footprint is crafted by experts to withstand the most rigorous forensic scrutiny, creating an irrefutable narrative that Billy has been exploiting highly sensitive, confidential information regarding Jill Abbott and Chancellor Winters for massive, illegal personal gain. The trap closes without a single sound, the final lines of malicious code executing perfectly in the background, while Billy remains completely oblivious to the fact that his entire life has just been legally dismantled. The sheer scale of the planted evidence is overwhelming, designed not just to suggest impropriety, but to guarantee a swift, brutal, and inescapable conviction that will leave Billy with absolutely no avenue for defense. The illusion of Billy's impending triumph is shattered with terrifying suddenness as the full weight of the legal system descends upon him without warning. The sudden, shocking arrival of federal investigators and regulatory authorities at his office sends a shockwave of confusion and sheer panic rippling through the corridors of Chancellor Winters. As agents systematically confiscate his devices, freeze his accounts, and secure his files, Billy's world is violently turned upside down, plunging him into a surreal nightmare of flashing badges and stern accusations. Operating with invisible omnipotence from the shadows, Victor ensures that the authorities are guided by an airtight, irrefutable trail of breadcrumbs that leads directly to Billy's doorstep, leaving no room for doubt or alternative suspect. The precision of the raid and the overwhelming nature of the immediate allegations leave Billy entirely defenseless, stripped of his bravado, and forced to confront the terrifying reality that he is the primary target of a massive, inescapable federal probe. The atmosphere inside the stark, claustrophobic interrogation room is suffocating, as Billy is subjected to a relentless barrage of questioning by seasoned investigators armed with Victor's fabricated evidence. The dawning realization of the sheer magnitude of the setup crashes over Billy like a tidal wave, replacing his initial arrogant defiance with a cold, paralyzing terror. As the investigators lay out the meticulously forged documents, the manipulated emails, and the damning digital logs, Billy experiences a profound psychological collapse, realizing the absolute perfection of the trap and his terrifying lack of any credible alibi. Every desperate explanation he offers sounds hollow and frantic against the weight of the physical evidence, making him appear exactly as Victor intended, a guilty, desperate man caught in a web of his own greed. The psychological toll of the interrogation is immense, breaking Billy down hour by hour, leaving him emotionally shattered and fully cognizant of the catastrophic reality that he is facing, the total destruction of his freedom and his life. The devastating ripple effect of Billy's impending ruin violently disrupts the lives of the women deeply entrenched in his chaotic orbit, dragging them into a desperate battle for survival. Victoria Newman, despite her own history of ruthless corporate machinations and her recent psychological warfare against Sally, finds herself profoundly unsettled and deeply conflicted by the sheer, unadulterated ruthlessness of her father's ultimate. While she has often opposed Billy, the prospect of him facing decades in a federal penitentiary based on fabricated evidence triggers a complex crisis of conscience, forcing her to grapple with the terrifying depths of Victor's vindictiveness. Simultaneously, Lily Winters, who has been fiercely fighting to protect her emotional sanctuary from the toxic Abbott-Newman warfare, is violently dragged back into the chaos. Seeing the man she once loved facing absolute annihilation and recognizing the catastrophic threat this scandal poses to the legacy of Chancellor Winters, Lily is consumed by deep anxiety and a desperate, frantic need to untangle the legal nightmare before it consumes everything she has built. The final crushing blow is delivered when the official indictment drops, formally charging Billy Abbott with a litany of severe, devastating financial crimes that carry the weight of long-term imprisonment. The news sends shockwaves through the highest echelons of Genoa City society, instantly obliterating Billy's remaining reputation and branding him a corporate pariah and a disgraced criminal. As the media descends and the Abbott family scrambles to comprehend the magnitude of the disaster, Victor Newman observes the absolute destruction from his ivory tower, radiating a cold, triumphant satisfaction. Standing by his expansive office window, looking out over the city he controls, Victor views the total annihilation of Billy not as an act of cruelty, but as a necessary, expensive, and long overdue lesson in power, respect. The patriarch feels no remorse for the lives shattered by his machinations. In his mind, he has simply restored order to his universe by permanently neutralizing a chaotic, unworthy adversary who dared to challenge the Newman's supremacy. However, instead of breaking completely under the crushing weight of the indictment, Billy's despair undergoes a terrifying metamorphosis, twisting into a dangerous, manic, and highly destructive obsession. The combination of the inescapable legal frame-up and Victor's agonizing taunts regarding Jill's lack of faith ignites a blazing inferno of paranoia and relentless determination within Billy's fractured psyche. Refusing to accept defeat, he becomes singularly and dangerously fixated on unearthing the dark, buried secrets hidden deep within the foundational architecture of Chancellor. Convinced that his mother's hidden legacy and the newly discovered existence of his brother Cain hold the ultimate key to his salvation and his vengeance, Billy begins to operate with reckless abandon. This unhinged pursuit of the truth transforms him from a desperate victim into a volatile, unpredictable force of nature, willing to burn down everything and everyone in his path to prove Victor wrong and reclaim his stolen legacy. As Billy spirals deeper into this dark, obsessive crusade, the psychological toll on Sally's spectra reaches a critical, agonizing breaking. Watching the man she loves transform into a manic, paranoid stranger, Sally is consumed by mounting horror and a profound, paralyzing sense of isolation. Pregnant, emotionally vulnerable, and still fiercely guarding her own devastating secret regarding the massive financial payout she accepted from Adam Newman, she realizes with terrifying clarity that Billy's unhinged state makes him a ticking time bomb. She knows that if Billy, in his current state of manic investigation, uncovers her deception regarding the Newman media deal, the resulting explosion will not only destroy their relationship, but could trigger a catastrophic chain reaction that endangers her unborn. The stress of maintaining her lies while trying to anchor a man who is rapidly losing his grip on reality pushes Sally to the absolute brink of emotional collapse, leaving her trapped in a nightmare of her own making. The tension within their shared space stretches to an unbearable, suffocating threshold as the shadows of Victor's trap and their own mounting secrets close in around. In the dead of night, the only illumination in the room comes from the harsh, cold glow of a laptop screen, where Billy sits hunched over, his eyes wide and manic, frantically digging through encrypted Chancellor files in a desperate search for a lifeline. Standing silently in the doorway, Sally watches him with a heart heavy with dread, her trembling hand resting protectively over her stomach as she witnesses the complete unraveling of the man she thought would be her future. The silence of the apartment is deafening, punctuated only by the frantic clicking of keys, creating an atmosphere thick with impending doom. In this quiet, terrifying moment, the devastating realization washes over Sally that Victor Newman's masterful trap might not just destroy Billy Abbott, but is destined to drag her and her innocent child down into the dark, unforgiving abyss of collateral damage.